Wrapping things up here on a crossover Thursday episode of Locked On Falcons and Locked On Bucs. And this crossover Thursday is presented by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use code LockedOnNFL, all lowercase, to win $50 instantly when you play $5. I missed my parlay for Thursday night football. And the only leg that I missed, Aaron, was Buccaneers money line. That was it. I hit everything else. Would have been over $1,000 payout, and your Falcons ruined it for me. So what are the three things that the Falcons need to do to ruin this Sunday's parlay for me?
Well, first, James, I'll say if you're the Tom Brady of missing that last leg on the parlay, I'm the Peyton Manning of that. So,
high five.
Two peas in a pod. So the three keys to victory for the Atlanta Falcons is number one, they got to stop the run. Number two, they got to win the turnover battle. And number three, they got to take advantage of matchups. All of these sort of build on the things that we've already been talking about, right? As I said, the wide receiver injuries won't matter if the Bucs can run the football. They were able to rush for over 100 yards against the NFL's best run defense. And they're going up against, I think, a run defense that, depending on what you're looking at, is somewhere in the bottom 10. Against the Atlanta Falcons, somewhere between 23 and 28 or something like that. So if they could do it against the Ravens, they certainly can do it against the Falcons. So the Falcons are going to need to have to sort of key on that and be able to stop the run. If the Bucs get their run game going, they will be able to then eventually get their passing game going as well on third downs. The other thing with the win the turnover battle, right? The Bucs have given up a bunch of points the last couple of weeks to the Saints and Ravens off of turnovers, especially in the second quarter. We saw Jesse Bates get that critical forced fumble at the end of that fourth quarter in the Bucs game to help, sort of slow down the Bucs and prevent them from running out the clock in that. But we get a lot of Kirk Cousins chaos this season. And he has a turnover in 5 out of the Falcons' 7 games, and the 2 where he didn't in against the Eagles and Panthers, he still put the ball in harm's way in both of those games. It just didn't result in a turnover. And as I said earlier, with Antoine Winfield coming back, if Kirk continues to put the ball in harm's way, I guarantee you, he will take advantage of it. He will find it to be in the right spot, just like Levante David. Again, thorns in the side. The Levante David stuff is just like 12 years of this. I'm like, just get out of here, man. Just retire, my guy. But will we get to see a cleaner game from Kirk Cousins? Maybe, but basically we just need him to be cleaner than the Bucs. So if he gets that one turnover, then the Falcons need to force 2 turnovers from Baker Mayfield, and we've seen that from Baker Mayfield the last couple of weeks. So the Falcons need to take advantage of that, and then they need to take advantage of the matchups, and that goes to basically attacking the middle of the field on offense, as we've discussed with the Bucs, leaving that part wide open, getting over 300 yards passing from Kirk Cousins in the previous matchup over the middle of the field. I basically, if my game plan, if I'm sitting in on the meeting with Zach Robinson, the Falcons offensive coordinator, I'm saying, let's get DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, involved in this, because I absolutely want to terrorize KJ Britt in this matchup. I want to find him, circle him, get him one-on-one against Bijan Robinson in the open field as much as humanly possible, and absolutely terrorize this man all day long, all night long, come Sunday. So that is, to me, the type of thing that I want to see the Falcons take advantage of in this game.
Yeah, and in that last meeting, the turnover battle was tied. Both teams with 1. The Bucs had the fumble. Kirk immediately throws the interception to Levante David, and I think that was kind of the moment, honestly, where it turned in favor of the Falcons, because the Bucs thought they had the game won when Levante got that interception. There was too much time left on the clock. But yeah, you're 100% right. As much as I've criticized KJ Britt and kind of thrown him under the bus, I guess is what I'm looking for, I haven't seen a quarterback attack him as well as Kirk Cousins did. And I lost count of the number of replays where he is just baiting KJ Britt, just moving him wherever he wants to move him with his eyes, and then going the complete opposite direction. I don't know what kind of mystical hypnotic power Kirk Cousins has over KJ Britt, but he's able to just maneuver him wherever he wants and then pick apart that middle of the defense. It's going to be a tall task for the Bucs defense. But again, Antoine Winfield Jr. could change some things there. For the Bucs, they have to pressure Kirk Cousins. For the love of God, pressure Kirk Cousins. Defend the middle of the field and then use those running backs. I talked about it on our last crossover, that number to hit was 20%. You had to pressure Kirk Cousins on 20% of his dropbacks, and that was where you started to see his numbers drop. The Bucs did not do that the first time around. He had all day to pick apart the Bucs defense. They have to ramp up the pressure. They have to send blitzes. Kalijah Cansey's going to help that. Yaya Diaby has been coming on strong. I believe he has 3 sacks over the last 2 games. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka has to win his one-on-one matchups, but you have to get that pressure there, or Kirk Cousins is going to pick you apart over the middle of the field. So how are you going to defend the middle of the field this time? Antoine Winfield Jr. He has to be the center fielder. Jordan Whitehead struggled against the Ravens, but overall he's had a really good season. But you're short on players in the secondary. Antoine has to play that center field role where he's reading what Kirk Cousins wants to do. He's reading what's in front of him, and he can react. He can make a play. Maybe he doesn't get there fast enough to get an interception, but he can get there fast enough to get a pass breakup. Things like that. Do not leave it up to KJ Britt to play a zone in the middle of the field, or it's going to be another very long day. And then use those running backs, man. Use Rashad as a receiver and a runner. Use Sean Tucker to wear down this Atlanta defense. He is a bruiser. And then Bucky Irving he's like a fart in a skillet, man. His change of direction is so quick and so smooth that he turns 1-yard losses into 8-yard gains in the blink of an eye. You have to utilize all of these guys, but especially in that second half, if Atlanta's defense has been on the field for a little while, you start hitting them with Sean Tucker and really punish them. He has a very powerful way that he runs, and he punishes guys that are trying to take him down. That's really what you have to do if you're the Bucs to control this game.
Absolutely. So I guess we'll find out which of these teams, take our advice and execute these keys to victory and come away with a win that will either, potentially seal the NFC South crown for the Atlanta Falcons. Hopefully, again, you can never count the Falcons to not blow a lead in this world. But, this is a must-win game for the Bucs. This is a really important to win game, kind of, but not necessarily their season is over and their playoff hopes are dashed if the Falcons don't come away. And is that a motivating factor for the Bucs to get this win at home going into the season? I didn't necessarily expect the Falcons to sweep the Bucs, but given these injuries, given some of these advantages we're talking about, I feel like the odds have gone up in the last couple of days. But will the Falcons be able to take advantage of it? We'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah, and the one last thing is, a lot of times we see maybe there's a quarterback change, maybe there's a coaching change. In the Bucs situation, there is a kick to the gut by losing these 2 leaders of the locker room, leaders in the community, leaders on the field. Maybe that's enough for this team to rally and really do what no one is expecting them to do, and that's get a win over the Atlanta Falcons. So we'll see how Kirktober ends one way or another.